J. Krishnamurti, The Awakening of Intelligence. Chapter 1. The Role of the Teacher. Conversation between J. Krishnamurti and Professor J. Needleman. There is much talk of a spiritual revolution among young people, particularly here in California. Do you see in this very mixed phenomenon any hope of a new flowering for modern civilization, a new possibility of growth? Krishnamurti. For a new possibility of growth, don't you think, sir, that one has to be rather serious and not merely jump from one spectacular amusement to another? If one has looked at all of the religions of the world and seen their organized futility, and out of that perception seen something real and clear, perhaps then there could be something new in California or in the world. But as far as I've seen, I'm afraid there is not a quality of seriousness in all this. I may be mistaken because I see only the so-called young people in the distance, among the audience, and occasionally here. And by their questions, by their laughter, by their applause, they don't strike me as being very serious, mature, with great intent. I may be mistaken, naturally. Needleman. I understand what you are saying. My question only is, perhaps we can't very well expect young people to be serious. Krishnamurti. This is why I don't think it is applicable to the young people. I don't know why one has made such an extraordinary thing out of young people, why it has become such an important thing. In a few years, there will be the old people in their turn. Needleman. As a phenomenon, apart from what is underneath it all, this interest in transcending experience, or whatever one wants to call it, seems to be a kind of seed ground from which certain unusual people, aside from all the phoniness and all the deceivers, certain masters perhaps may spring up. Krishnamurti. But I am not sure, sir, that all the deceivers and exploiters are not covering this up. Krishna consciousness and transcendental meditation and all this nonsense that is going on, they are caught in all of that. It is a form of exhibitionism, a form of amusement and entertainment. For something new to take place, there must be a nucleus of really devoted, serious people who go through to the very end. After going through all these things, they say, here is something I'm going to pursue to the end. Needleman. A serious person would be someone who would have to become disillusioned with everything else. Krishnamurti. I would not call it disillusion, but a form of seriousness. Needleman. But a precondition for it? Krishnamurti. No, I wouldn't call it disillusionment at all. That leads to despair and cynicism. I mean the examination of all the things that are so-called religious, so-called spiritual, to examine, to find out what is the truth in all this, whether there is any truth in it, or to discard the whole thing and start new, and not go through all the trappings, all the mess of it. Needleman. I think that is what I tried to say, but this expresses it better. People who have tried something and it has failed for them. Krishnamurti. Not other people. I mean, one has to discard all the promises, all the experiences, all the mystical assertions. I think one has to start as though one knew absolutely nothing. Needleman. That is very hard. Krishnamurti. No, sir. I don't think that is hard. I think it is hard only for those people who have filled themselves with other people's knowledge. Needleman. Isn't that most of us? I was speaking to my class yesterday at San Francisco State, and I said I was going to interview Krishnamurti, and what question would you like me to ask him? They had many questions, but the one that touched me most was what one young man said. I have read his books over and over again, and I can't do what he says. There was something so clear about that it rang a bell. It seems in a certain subtle sense to begin in this way, to be a beginner, fresh. Krishnamurti, I don't think that we question enough. Do you know what I mean? Needleman, yes. Krishnamurti, we accept. We are gullible. We are greedy for new experiences. People swallow what is said by anybody with a beard with promises, saying you will have a marvelous experience if you do certain things. I think one has to say, I know nothing. Obviously, I can't rely on others. If there were no books, no gurus, what would you do? Needleman, but one is so easily deceived. Krishnamurti, you are deceived when you want something. Needleman, yes, I understand that. Krishnamurti, so you say, I'm going to find out, I'm going to inquire step by step. I don't want to deceive myself. Deception arises when I want, when I am greedy, when I say, all experience is shallow. I want something mysterious, then I am caught. Needleman, to me you are speaking about a state, an attitude, an approach, which is itself very far along in understanding for a man. I feel very far from that myself, and I know my students do. And so they feel rightly or wrongly a need for help. They probably misunderstand what help is. But is there such a thing as help? Krishnamurti, would you say, why do you ask for help? Needleman, let me put it like this. You sort of smell yourself deceiving yourself. You don't exactly know. Krishnamurti, it is fairly simple. I don't want to deceive myself, right? So I find out what is the movement. What is the thing that brings deception? Obviously, it is when I am greedy, when I want something, when I am dissatisfied. So instead of attacking greed, want, dissatisfaction, I want something more. Needleman, yes. Krishnamurti, so I have to understand my greed. What am I greedy for? Is it because I am fed up with this world? I've had women, I've had cars, I've had money, and I want something more? Needleman, I think one is greedy because one desires stimulation to be taken out of oneself so that one doesn't see the poverty of oneself. But what I'm trying to ask, I know you have answered the question many times in your talks, but it keeps recurring almost unavoidably. The great traditions of the world, aside from what has become of them, they have become distorted and misinterpreted and deceptive. Always speak directly or indirectly of help. They say the guru is yourself too, but at the same time there is help. Krishnamurti, so you know what the word guru means? Needleman, no, not exactly. Krishnamurti, the one who points. That is one meaning. Another meaning is the one who brings enlightenment, lifts your burden. But instead of lifting your burden, they impose their burden on you. Needleman, I am afraid so. Krishnamurti, guru also means one who helps you to cross over and so on. There are various meanings. The moment the guru says he knows, then you may be sure that he doesn't know, because what he knows is something past, obviously. Knowledge is the past. And when he says he knows, he is thinking of some experience which he has had, which he has been able to recognize as something great, and that recognition is born out of his previous knowledge. Otherwise, he couldn't recognize it, and therefore, his experience has its roots in the past. Therefore, it is not real. Well, I think that most knowledge is that. So why do we want any form of ancient or modern tradition in all this? Look, sir, I don't read any religious, philosophical, psychological books. One can go into oneself at tremendous depths and find out everything. To go into oneself is the problem. How to do it? not being able to do it. When asked, would you please help me? Yes. And the other fellow says, I'll help you, and pushes you off somewhere else. Well, it sort of answers the question. I was reading a book the other day which spoke of something called satsang. Do you know what it means? Association with the wise. No, with good people. With good people. Being good, you are wise. Not being wise, you are good. I understand that. Because you are good, you are wise. I'm not trying to pin this down to something, but I find my students and I myself, speaking for myself, when we hear you, we say, I need no one. I need to be with no one. And there's a tremendous deception in this too. Naturally, because you are being influenced by the speaker. Yes, that is true. So, sir, look, let's be very simple. Suppose if there were no book, no guru, no teacher, what would you do? One is in turmoil, confusion, agony. What would you do? With nobody to help you, no drugs, no tranquilizers, no organized religions, what would you do? I can't imagine what I would do. That's it. Perhaps that would be a moment of urgency there. That's it. We haven't the urgency because we say, well, somebody's going to help me. But most people would be driven insane by the situation. I am not sure, sir. I'm not sure either. No, I am not at all sure, because what have we done up to now? The people on whom we have relied, the religious, the church's education, they have led us to this awful mess. We aren't free of sorrow. We aren't free of our beastliness, our ugliness, our vanities. Can one say that all of them, there are differences? For every 1,000 deceivers, there is one Buddha? But that is not my concern, sir. If we say that it leads to such deception, no. Then let me ask you this. We know that without hard work, the body may get ill, and this hard work is what we call effort. Is there another effort for what we might call the spirit? You speak against effort. But does not the growth and well-being of all sides of man demand something like hard work of one sort or another? I wonder what you mean by hard work. Physical hard work? This is what we usually mean by hard work, or going against desires. You see, there we are. Our conditioning, our culture is built around this going against, erecting a wall of resistance. So when we say hard work, what do we mean? Laziness? Why have I to make an effort about anything? Why? Because I wish for something? No. Why is there this cult of effort? Why have I to make effort to reach God, enlightenment, truth? There are many possible answers, but I can only answer for myself. It may be just there, only I don't know how to look. But then there must be an obstacle. How to look? It may be just around the corner, under the flower. It may be anywhere. So first I have to learn to look, not make an effort to look. I must find out what it means to look. Yes, but don't you admit that there may be a resistance to that looking? Then don't bother to look. If somebody comes along and says, I don't want to look, how are you going to force him to look? No, I'm speaking about myself now. I want to look. If you want to look, what do you mean by looking? You must find out what it means to look before you make an effort to look, right, sir? That would be, to me, an effort. No. To do it in that delicate, subtle way, I wish to look, but I don't wish to find out what it means to look. I agree, this is much more to me the basic thing. But this wish to do it quickly, to get over, is this not resistance? Quick medicine to get it over. Is there something to me that I have to study that resists the subtle, much more delicate thing you are speaking about? Is this not work? What you are saying isn't it work to ask the questions so quietly, so subtly? It seems to be it is work to not listen to that part that wants to do it quickly. For us, particularly in the West, or maybe for all men, I'm afraid it's all over the world the same. Tell me how to get there quickly. And yet you say it is in a moment? It is, obviously. Yes, I understand. So what is effort? To get out of bed in the morning when you don't want to get up is an effort? What brings on that laziness? Lack of sleep? Overeating? Overindulging? And all the rest of it? And next morning you say, oh, what a bore. I have to get up. Now wait a minute, sir. Follow it. What is laziness? Is it physical laziness or is it thought itself lazy? Then I don't understand. I need another word. Thought is lazy. I find that thought is always the same. No, sir, I am lazy. I don't want to get up, and so I force myself to get up. That is so-called effort. Yes. I want that, but I shouldn't have it. I resist it. The resistance is effort. I get angry, and I mustn't be angry. Resistance, effort. What has made me lazy? The thought I ought to be getting up? That's it. All right. So I really have to go into the whole question of thought. Not make out that the body is lazy, force the body out of bed, because the body has its own intelligence. It knows when it is tired and should rest. This morning, I was tired. I prepared the mat and everything to do yoga exercises, and the body said, no, sorry. And I said, all right, that is not laziness. The body said, leave me alone because you talked yesterday. You saw many people. You are tired. Thought then says, you must get up and do the exercises because it is good for you. You have done it every day. It has become a habit. Don't relax. You will get lazy. Keep at it. Which means thought is making me lazy, not the body is making me lazy. I understand that. So there's an effort with regard to thought. So no effort. Why is thought so mechanical? And all thought, and is all thought mechanical? Yes, all right, one puts that question, isn't it? I can't say that I have verified that, but we can, sir. That is fairly simple to see. Isn't all thought mechanical? The non-mechanical state is the absence of thought. Not the neglect of thought, but the absence of it. How can I find that out? Do it now. It is simple enough. You can do it now if you wish to. Thought is mechanical. Let's assume that. Not assume. Don't assume anything. All right? Thought is mechanical, isn't it? Because it is repetitive, conforming, comparing. That part I see, the comparing. But my experience is that not all thought is of the same quality. There are qualities of thought. Are there? In my experiences there are. Let's find out. What is thought? Thinking. There seems to be thought that is very shallow, very repetitive, very mechanical. It has a certain taste to it. There seems to be another kind of thought, which is connected more with my body, with my whole self. It resonates in another way. This is what, sir, thought is the response of memory. All right, this is a definition. No. I can see it in myself. I have to go to that house this evening. The memory, the distance, the design, all that is memory, isn't it? Yes, that is memory. I have been there before, and so the memory is well established, and from that there is either instant thought or thought which takes a little time. So I'm asking myself, is all thought similar, mechanical, or is there a thought which is non-mechanical, which is non-verbal? Yes, that's right. Is there thought if there is no word? There's understanding. Wait, sir, so how does this understanding take place? Does it happen when thought is functioning rapidly or when thought is quiet? What? When thought is quiet, yes. Understanding is nothing to do with thought. You may reason, which is the process of thinking, logic, till you say, I don't understand it. Then you become silent and you say, I see it, I understand it. That understanding is not a result of thought. You speak of an energy which seems to be uncaused. We experience the energy of cause and effort which shapes our lives. But what is this other energy's relationship to the energy we are familiar with? What is energy? First of all, is energy divisible? I don't know. Go on. It could be divided. Physical energy, the energy of anger, and so on. Cosmic energy, human energy. It can all be divided. But it is all one energy, isn't it? Logically, I say yes. I don't understand energy. Sometimes I experience the thing which I call energy. Why do we divide energy at all? That is what I want to get at. Then we could come to it differently. Sexual energy, physical energy, mental energy, psychological energy, cosmic energy, the energy of the businessman who goes to the office, and so on. Why do we divide it? What is the reason for this division? There seems to be many parts of oneself which are separate, and we divide life, it seems to me, because of that. Why? We have divided the world into communist, socialist, imperialist, and the Catholic, Protestant, Hindu, Buddhist, and nationalities, linguistic divisions. The whole thing is fragmentation. Why has the mind fragmented the whole of life? I don't know the answer. I see the ocean and I see a tree. There is a division. No, there's a difference between the sea and the tree. I hope so, but that is not a division. No, it's a difference, not a division. But we are asking why the division exists, not only outwardly, but in us. It is in us. That is the most interesting question. Because it is in us, we extend it outwards. Now, why is there this division in me? The me and the not me. You follow? The higher and the lower. The Atman and the lower itself. Why this division? Maybe it was done, at least in the beginning, to help men to question themselves. To make them question whether they really know what they think they know. Through division, will they find out? Maybe through the idea that there is something that I don't understand. In a human being, there is division. Why? What is the raison d'etre? What is the structure of this division? I see there is a thinker and thought, right? I don't see that. There's a thinker who says, I must control that thought. I must not think this, I must think that. So there's a thinker who says, I must, or I must not. Right. There is the division. I should be this, and I should not be that. If I can understand why this division in me exists, oh look, look at those hills. Marvelous, isn't it? Beautiful. Now, sir, do you look at it with a division? No. Why not? There wasn't the me to do anything with it. That's all. You can't do anything about it. Here, with thought, I think I can do something.